Ever felt like you're stuck in a loop, no matter how many self-help books you read or podcasts you binge? Sometimes the solution isn't more introspection. It's a radical shift in perspective. Imagine stepping off a plane into a city where nobody knows your name, where every street corner is a new possibility. That's the power of a passport. It's not just a document, it's a ticket to reinvention. Therapy and medication have their place, but what if your mind craves something different? Travel forces you out of your comfort zone. Suddenly, you're navigating unfamiliar streets, tasting foods you can't pronounce, and hearing languages you don't understand. Each moment demands your attention, pulling you out of your head and into the world. It's a full body reset, and sometimes that's exactly what you need. Ever noticed how your problems shrink when you're watching a sunset in a place you've never been? The unfamiliar has a way of making your worries seem smaller, less permanent. When you're surrounded by new sights and sounds, your brain is too busy absorbing it all to dwell on old anxieties. It's not escapism, it's perspective. Sometimes you need distance to see what really matters. Travel isn't just about seeing new places. It's about meeting new versions of yourself. In a different country, you're free from the expectations and routines that define you at home. You can be bold, curious, even a little reckless. The person you become when you're lost in a new city might surprise you. Sometimes the best therapy is simply giving yourself permission to change. Ever tried explaining your life to someone who doesn't share your language or culture? It forces you to simplify, to focus on what's truly important. Suddenly, your job title or relationship status doesn't matter. What matters is connection, curiosity, and kindness. Travel strips away the noise, leaving you with the essentials. It's a reminder that you're more than your daily routine or your worries. Routine can be comforting, but it can also be suffocating. When every day looks the same, your mind starts to stagnate. Travel shatters that monotony. Suddenly, you're waking up in a new bed, hearing unfamiliar sounds, and facing challenges you never anticipated. Each day is unpredictable, and that unpredictability is a powerful antidote to mental stagnation. Sometimes, chaos is exactly what you need to feel alive again. Ever noticed how travel makes you hyper-aware of the present moment? When you are lost in a maze of alleyways or haggling in a market, you can't afford to dwell on the past or worry about the future. Your senses are on high alert, soaking in every detail. This forced mindfulness is something therapy tries to teach, but travel makes it unavoidable. Sometimes the best way to be present is to be somewhere completely new. Travel isn't always comfortable. Missed trains, language barriers, and culture shock can be frustrating, but these challenges build resilience. Each time you solve a problem abroad, you prove to yourself that you're adaptable and resourceful. That confidence doesn't disappear when you return home. It becomes part of who you are. Sometimes the best way to grow is to put yourself in situations where you have no choice but to adapt. Ever felt invisible in your own life? Travel gives you a chance to rewrite your story. In a new place, you're not defined by your past mistakes or your reputation. You can introduce yourself however you want, try new things, and take risks without fear of judgment. It's a rare opportunity to start fresh, even if it's just for a week. Sometimes all you need is a change of scenery to remember who you are. Travel exposes you to new ideas, beliefs, and ways of living. It challenges your assumptions and forces you to question what you've always taken for granted. When you see how other people solve problems, celebrate, or find meaning, it broadens your perspective. This isn't something you can get from a pill or a therapy session. Sometimes the best way to understand yourself is to see how others live. Ever noticed how travel makes you appreciate home in a new way? Absence really does make the heart grow fonder. When you're far from everything familiar, you start to see your own life with fresh eyes. The things you took for granted, your favourite coffee shop, your friends, even your bed, suddenly feel precious. Sometimes you have to leave to truly appreciate what you have. Travel isn't a cure-all, but it's a powerful catalyst. It shakes up your routine, challenges your assumptions, and forces you to grow. You might not solve all your problems on the road, but you'll return with new stories, new skills, and a new sense of possibility. Sometimes, the best way to heal isn't to talk about your problems. It's to live a life that makes them feel smaller. Ever wondered why some of your best ideas come when you're far from home? Travel disrupts your mental patterns, sparking creativity and inspiration. When you're surrounded by new sights, sounds, and experiences, your brain makes connections it never would in your daily routine. That's why so many artists, writers, and thinkers swear by travel as a source of inspiration. Sometimes, the best way to solve a problem is to change your environment. Travel teaches humility. When you're the outsider, you realize how much you don't know. You learn to ask for help, to listen more than you speak, and to appreciate the kindness of strangers. This humility is a gift. It makes you more open, more curious, and more compassionate. Sometimes, the best way to grow isn't to have all the answers, but to embrace the questions. Ever felt like you're living on autopilot? Travel snaps you out of it. When every day is an adventure, you can't help but be engaged. You notice the details, the smell of fresh bread, the sound of unfamiliar music, the feel of cobblestones under your feet. This heightened awareness is addictive. Sometimes the best way to wake up is to put yourself somewhere you've never been before. Travel isn't about running away from your problems. It's about running toward new possibilities. Each trip is a chance to rewrite your story, to collect new memories, and to discover strengths you didn't know you had. The world is full of surprises, and sometimes the best way to find yourself is to get a little lost. So, if you're feeling stuck, maybe it's time to grab your passport and see where it takes you. Ever noticed how travel brings out your sense of wonder? When you're in a new place, even ordinary things feel magical. The way the light hits a building, the taste of a local snack, the sound of a new language. It all feels fresh and exciting. This sense of wonder is something we lose in our routines. Sometimes the best therapy is simply to remember how to be amazed. Travel connects you to the world and to yourself. When you're far from home, you realize how big the world is and how small your problems can seem. You meet people with different stories, and you start to see your own story in a new light. This connection is powerful. Sometimes, the best way to understand yourself is to step outside your comfort zone and see what the world has to teach you. Ever felt like you're waiting for life to start? Travel reminds you that life is happening right now all over the world. Every city, every village, every street is alive with possibility. When you travel, you become part of that energy. You stop waiting and start living. Sometimes the best way to break free from inertia is to buy a ticket and go. The world is waiting. What are you waiting for? Travel isn't a magic fix, but it's a powerful tool. It won't solve every problem, but it will give you new eyes, new stories, and new strength. If you're feeling stuck, maybe you don't need another self-help book or a new prescription. Maybe you just need a passport, a sense of adventure, and the courage to see what's out there. Sometimes the best medicine is a change of scenery. So, next time you feel restless or stuck, remember, you don't always need therapy or medication. Sometimes all you need is a passport and the willingness to step into the unknown. The world is bigger, stranger, and more beautiful than you can imagine. And sometimes the best way to heal is simply to go. Where will your passport take you next?